Welcome to Coding with T, and I'm your host, Tiffany.
Hey Cody's, quick disclaimer. From this point on, I'll be dropping videos every Monday and Wednesday at 3:30 Central Time, so stay tuned. In this video, we will be learning how to control the flow of a program when an error occurs. This process is known as exception handling. And exception handling allows us to try to preempt possible errors if we believe a certain block of code may cause an error. We manage these errors by using a try-catch finally statement. Let me show you what I mean. I've already created a program, and inside my program, I'm going to create an int variable and name it numerator. Then I'm going to create a denominator variable too. On the next line, I'm going to create a scanner object, and I'm going to name it input, and I'm going to initialize it to a new scanner. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type system.in, semicolon. On the next line, I'm going to use the try statement with curly braces. I'm going to system.out.print. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type a string. Please enter the numerator. Now I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. So in order to read the value, I'm going to use numerator equal input dot next int. I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. And I'm going to prompt the user to enter the denominator. So I'm going to system.out print. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to enter a string. It's going to say, please enter the denominator. And I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. And I'm going to use the denominator variable. I'm going to initialize it to the scanner object input. And I'm going to use the dot operator to call the next int method. And I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. Now I'm going to system.out.println. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type the result is, I'm going to use the concatenating sign, which is the plus sign. And I'm going to do some simple math, which is numerator divided by denominator. And I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. On the next line, I'm going to use the catch statement. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type exception E. Then I'm going to use another set of curly braces. Inside the curly braces, I'm going to type system.out.println. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to call the getMessage method. So I'm going to use the E variable, use the dot operator, and call the getMessage method. I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. On the next line, I'm going to use the finally statement. Inside of the finally statement, I'm going to system.out.println. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type a string. End of error handling. And I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. Let's run our program. In our program, the try block is executed successfully, and then it displays the result of the division. And after the try block is executed, the code reaches the finally block, and then that's executed. The finally block is always executed whether or not the try block or the catch statement is executed. So we're going to make this program generate an error so that the catch statement is executed. Let's run our program.
And voila, it works.
It worked as expected. The catch block was executed, and after the catch block is executed, the code then executes the finally block. The catch block also allows us to specify the type of error that it should catch. In my example, we're trying to catch a general error. Therefore, I used catch exception E. Exception refers to the class that the error belongs to, and E is the given name of the error. In my example, I used the exception class to catch a general error. However, Java has other classes that handle more specific errors. You can even catch an error and display your own message. Let me show you how to do this. I'm going to create an int variable and name it index. Then I'm going to initialize it to 0. Now I'm going to create a scanner object and name it input. Then I'm going to initialize it to a new scanner. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type system.in and make sure it's closed with a semicolon. On the next line, I'm going to create an array and I'm going to name it values. Then I'm going to initialize it to 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45. And outside of the curly brace, I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. Now I'm going to prompt the user. Then I'm going to use the try statement to read the user's input. So I'm going to type index equal, or I'm going to initialize it to input, and I'm going to use the dot operator to call the next int method. And I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. And then I'm going to system.out.printf. Inside of the parentheses, I'm going to type a string, index in brackets %d equal %d %n. Then I'm going to use a comma, and then I'm going to type index, comma, values. Inside of brackets, I'm going to type index, and I'm going to make sure it's closed with a semicolon. Now I'm going to use the catch statement. I'm going to use the array index out of bound exception class. This class allows the program to catch if the user enter an index that does not exist. So I'm going to create my own error statement, and then I'm going to create another catch statement just in case the user enter a non-integer value. The input mismatch exception is the class that handles this. So I'm going to print an error message. Then I'm going to use another catch statement to catch general errors like I did before. Let's run our program. Now that we've called errors under predefined conditions, we can also define our own conditions for when an error should occur. This is known as throwing an exception. So let's suppose I don't want the user to enter the value that's stored within index 5. To do this, I would use an if statement. And inside of the parentheses, I would type index equal the number 4. And then on the next line, I would say throw new array index out of bound exception. I will make sure it's closed with a semicolon. Let's run our program. And voila, it works. Okay, Codies, we're going to end it here. If this video helped you out, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit that notification button, and also drop a comment and share the video. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.